Hey, Dr. Karen Can here. Welcome to another edition of the Spiritual Medicine Digest. This week, I want to talk to you about partial autoproxying, or partial proxying for short. Well, what is that? Well, let me back up a little bit and let you know that sometimes when sensitive souls have intense symptoms or symptoms that they can't seem to get away from no matter what they do, their usual tools don't work, meditation doesn't work, fasting doesn't work, patches don't work, nothing works. Okay. When this happens, it's possible that that sensitive soul is going through what I call an autoproxy. Now, I do mention this in my Sensitivity is Your Superpower book, but autoproxying is when we, as sensitive souls, become, energetically, if you will, become another person, place, or thing. In other words, we run their energy and problems, unfortunately, through our system. And so it feels like it's our stuff because it often feels like it's in our bodies, and we can literally have bodily symptoms, swelling, pain, depression, anxiety, etc. The worst that has happened in the recent past, because we are becoming more and more sensitive as the ascension process continues, is really, really bad depression. Really bad depression, listlessness, life is not worth living, suicidal thoughts, feeling attacked, literally physically feeling attacked by entities, things like that. Now, it doesn't have to be bad all the time, or maybe not that bad, but this past 7 days or so, we had a couple of people who were not only just autoproxying, they were autoproxying for probably the worst thing you could autoproxy for. What's that? It's who I call the PseudoLight. Now, it used to be called darkness masked in light, which, or light masked in light, sorry, which was very confusing. So I renamed it PseudoLight. So if I were to put on a scale all the different types of dark entities in terms of which is the darkest and which is the lightest, if you will, in other words, the most severe darkness, the most terrible or evil, if you will, and the least evil would be in general, and these are just generalizations based on my own, personal perception of doing thousands and thousands of healing sessions over the years, is ghosts. So ghosts, I mean, they can sometimes be nasty, and people can even have suicidal thoughts because of ghosts. But generally speaking, they're not as evil. Their light score is not as low as some of the other entities. And then we have the bunch that we call evil spirits. So that would include your everyday demon. Poor guys, they're just called everyday demons. Dark watchers, people that watch you and report back to their superiors. Monkey demons, who are there to like cause stress. Oh, they love eating the energy of stress. If you get reactive, oh, they love that, and they like to mess up your electronics just to get you, annoyed. Then there are lower realm who are more. If you're around them and you're sensitive, you could be very, very intensely angry all of a sudden. Let's see. And then, of course, there's the fallen angels, dark angels. They tend to be more in charge of the others, tend to be more almost royal or some sort of hierarchy there. And then beyond that, the light score goes down even further. And then after that, we have what I call darkness, or the darkness. And the darkness is pictured as the dark smoke monster from the Lost series. And there are many, many different depictions of the darkness. Now, when I discovered the darkness entity, I thought, wow, okay, this is pretty dark stuff. Until I found the darkest of the dark. Okay, so that darkest darkness, and then the next one, darkness masked in light. So the darkness I call darkness masked in, the darkness I call darkest of the dark. Okay. So then beyond that is darkness masked in light. Now these guys, if you will, are very tricky, and they're not really individuated souls per se, unlike the fallen angel, etc. So these guys are it's sort of like the smoke monster, except they look light. So it's very, very difficult for the average person, or even the average sensitive soul who might be an earth angel and might even be a professional healer, to even know that these entities are actually dark because they look light. But beyond their outer appearance of light is the core of darkness, and the true light score is very low. And then even below that is what I call the pseudo-light now, which used to be called light masked light, but that didn't make any sense. So pseudo-light is even lower. So their light scores tend to be less than 5. Now, the couple of people that did have this recently were going through an auto proxy whereby in their case, only partial proxying, which was still terrible. Part of them could be no, for some people, it's part of their physical body, part of their energetic bodies, part of their spiritual bodies. It can be fairly complex, and I don't want to get into all of that here, but basically, they can process that other person, place, or thing's stuff through their own body, and it feels horrible. So they can feel attacked, they're depressed, they literally change their personality because they are not themselves. They are literally this pseudo-light entity. Now, the pseudo-light entity, interestingly, has been going through its own dark night of the soul, if you will, and feeling, I think, very threatened in a way. Although we know we heal all entities with love, that's the most powerful way to do. And we're not talking the kind of love where you're skipping along the beach and go, oh, I love you. And, not that kind of fairy, airy, fairy kind of love. Very powerful, deep love for all. Okay. And very few people are able to actually contain or even emanate that degree of deep love for their enemy or for whatever people think is their enemy. So the pseudolight is going through, interestingly, an autoimmune reaction. So, so what does that mean? It's like infighting. But you see, they're not individuated souls fighting with each other. It's like a part of the pseudolight is fighting another part of the pseudolight. I've never seen this before. It's actually quite interesting. However, people who are autoproxying, which means they don't mean to proxy for someone, that's what auto means, or partial autoproxying, will just feel very, very negative, very down, very unlike themselves, and sometimes attacked at all times. And when healers go to check them to see if they have an entity, including my Topican level 2 trainees who know how to look for all these different types, they don't find any. And they may not find any for that particular person in their alternate timelines. That's another hint, is you can see whether or not there's an entity related to an alternate timeline that person is feeling. And in this case, it would be not, because that person is not that person. That person is auto-proxying for something else. In this case, it is the pseudo-light. So it can be fairly confusing to try to figure this out. Now, with divine muscle testing and the right questioning and Topican healing, we can find this out fairly quickly within a few seconds, whether the person is autoproxying or partial autoproxying for something, and then we can figure out what they're proxying for. I myself have autoproxied for Mother Earth. I've autoproxied for countries, cultures, the Chinese people, in the past, light being starseeds. I mean, there's all things that I have done in the past. And here is a very important point. Sometimes it is for the highest and greatest good for that sensitive soul, because of their role, because of their mission, to auto-proxy for something or someone to help automatically heal that other. Now, when you catch that, it's much, much faster than using your own body to, try to heal it. It's just go ahead and do the healing on that other. So in other words, in the pseudolight, for example, we could just go and tap in, and using Topican healing, Ascension 3, just go ahead and direct those healing energies to the pseudolight itself, and then have that heal much, much faster than you just processing it through your body and being miserable for 3 weeks, right? There are the other group of people who are not supposed to be proxying for the other. In other words, there is not a good reason, because it's not their soul mission. It's not part of what they're supposed to be here to do, but they happen to be doing it because of a number of reasons. One is maybe, lower boundaries. One, maybe they have lack of control of their awareness. In Topican Level 1 training program, we have a healing protocol related to awareness balance. Some people are more aware of the negative than the positive, and with ascension upgrade, sometimes that awareness expands, and therefore the only thing they notice is the dark and not the light. And like I said, it can get a little bit complex. But with Topican healing, we have protocols, and it's fairly easy within minutes to figure these things out. And so for those folks, we want to make sure that they're not proxying when they're not supposed to. Because it can be highly, highly uncomfortable. And many of them don't even know who they are, right? They don't know they're a light being starseed. They don't know that they're an indigo soul or earth angel or, those kinds of things. That's why I feel it's super important to find out who you are and what you are here to do as a sensitive soul. If you identify as a sensitive soul, someone who is empathic, or someone who's an empath, someone who is very sensitive to other people's feelings. They can feel other people's stuff in their body, their mood. Sometimes they hear things, that other people can't hear. They're clairvoyant. They can see things. So in my book, Sensitivity is Your Superpower, we kind of go through the different clairs, the different talents, what they are, and how to figure out what your soul mission is. Now, the soul typing procedure to figure out what kind of soul, starseed, earth angel, does require a person really good at that to do that accurately, because now it gets even more complex with multiple souls, soul mergers, walk-ins, walk-outs, hybrid DNA. Anyway, I won't go into all that, but it's something that we teach in the Topican Level 1 and Level 2 training programs in my Academy of Light Medicine. So one of the things you want to do is learn to discern whether you are you, because this autoproxying or partial autoproxying is happening a little bit more often, and even non-sensitives are now having that issue sometimes, and it's because of the ascension upgrades, the expansion of our gifts. And think about this, if your boundaries were like this and then you expand your gifts, imagine a balloon expanding. That balloon is thinner, right? And it's sort of like you have to put a little bit more boundary around there. Sometimes that excess empathy gets you to feel too much. So having good boundaries for some people will prevent them from autoproxying. So today we're going to do a Topican healing activation related to boundaries. And keep in mind that with ascension upgrades that are happening on a daily, sometimes hourly basis, sometimes these boundaries may not hold. So you do have to, be responsible for your own boundaries. The other Topican healing I would like to do today for you is kind of a general one. It's not very specific in terms of everybody's case and why they're autoproxying, but it can't hurt to try it. And this one is for stopping the autoproxy or partial autoproxy when it's happening by directing energy specifically to the target of who you are autoproxying, so you can actually heal them so that you don't have to feel their stuff. A lot of times that's a faster way of doing it. So if I'm autoproxying for Mother Earth, there's some imbalance in Mother Earth, it's much, much faster to get rid of my symptoms if I heal Mother Earth, not me, Mother Earth, and then I'm released of that proxy right away. And usually, like I said, these days, I would say 9 out of 10 times when I am proxying or autoproxying because of my great sensitivity, it is because I'm supposed to be, at least temporarily. And the symptoms do kind of tell me, hey, something's going on, so then I get to do the healing much, much faster. So if you do divine muscle testing and you want to know whether you're proxying or autoproxying, you can't just ask, am I proxying? Yes, no. Am I not autoproxying? Yes, no. Because some of that answer is going to be dictated by who you are, right? So if I am Earth, that's Earth asking, am I proxying? You know what I mean? So there's a way in which in the divine muscle testing protocol that we show you, and that again, that's in my book, Sensitivity is Your Superpower. I think that's chapter 5 on divine muscle testing, where I'll give you the exact questions to ask in order so you don't make that mistake, which many, many people do. Okay, because some people before I, came out with the book and the instructions and the Topican healing method, they're like, oh, I tested, it was fine, and I tested. I'm like, well, you're proxying for someone, right? And they're like, well, I got a yes and a no, and it's correct. I'm like, yeah, you're not reversed, but did you ask your name and not your name? Oh, no, I didn't. I just thought I just had to ask yes or no. So anyway, I won't go into the details, but that is in the book. And partial proxying is even trickier. That part is in the level 1 training program. And the tricky part is sometimes when you do your name and divine muscle testing, you will get a yes for your name and a yes for not your name. And that's how you know you're partial proxying. There's other tricks too, but that's just a little hint on how you can figure it out. So let's do a Topican healing activation. If you'd like to receive this healing, you can go ahead and just make that intention to receive the healing. If you'd like to, you can close your eyes. You don't have to, but if you want to, you can. You can close your eyes, be in the body. One of the ways I do that is through stillness, through observing internal movement, a little method that I have to be in the body and be in the 0 point field. So as I'm talking to you, I'm actually feeling energy in my body. I can feel the resonance and vibration of my voice in my chest, as well as some nice little waves in my arms and legs. So if you can be aware of that, great. If you can't, that's okay. It's taught in my book, chapter 4. And I'm going to say out loud the Topican healing directives, and that directs the energy where to go. So if you just want to receive, just make that intention to receive, and just notice what your body feels like after each of these directives. Okay, here we go. Here's number 1. I now command that all your boundaries, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, energetic, dimensional, any others we don't know about, be restored to 100% ideal sovereignty in the highest and best way. All directions of time and all timelines where you exist were allowed with ease, speed, and grace. And anything preventing that, go ahead and heal and resolve. Thank you. Okay, so go ahead and just make a note how the body feels. You might yawn, you might have some tingles. All right, here's the next one. I now command that anything causing or contributing to me, as in you, autoproxying or partial autoproxying, be healed and resolved in the highest and best way, all directions of time and all timelines where you exist or I exist, with ease, speed, and grace. Anything preventing that, healed. Anything that you may be proxying for, you can say I if you want to repeat this, be automatically healed with ease, speed, and grace. Thank you. Now, if you happen to have the Ascension 3 pyramids, which are super strong, which means they're just really, really fast in doing the healing, and or any of the Ascension jewelry, you don't have to do the whole directive. You can just say, hey, stop my auto-proxying if I'm proxying and heal whoever stuff it is that I'm proxying. Okay, you can be really conversational and just telling it what to do. It already knows how to do all that stuff. You don't have to do the directive and be that specific. Same thing, hey, reboot and restore all my boundaries to 100% and always possible. Thank you. So that's kind of what you would do having that. And by the way, the Ascension 3 store is open just 1 week out of the month. So if you're new to my channel, this video, you might be like, hey, where's the store, right? But you can always put in your email at the store, ascension3.net, so that when it opens, and it's going to open late January for the first time in 2022, when it opens, you'll get an email with first dibs, on whatever products we have there. So we have jewelry, pyramids, bracelets, keychains, certain 3R formula drops and silicone bracelets that may help you, let's just say, help you rebalance during cold and flu season. Yes, I can say that. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. Please post in the comments what you felt if you were one of the folks that chose to receive the Topican healing directives. Would love to know what it felt like in your body and how that felt for you emotionally. And if you feel like you have possibly been autoproxying because you've had some of these symptoms, let me know if that gives you any relief. And if it doesn't, it could very well mean that you do need to have, one of my practitioners, do some work with you to get into the nitty-gritty as to why you're proxying or autoproxying. And I really hope that you're not autoproxying for the PseudoLight, because that is very uncomfortable. Okay, so a few announcements. On Monday's Light Warrior Radio Show, we are airing the interview with my friend Leon Zanimiari, and he is an amazing health educator and advocate, and he has a free gift for you. It's actually a handbook that you can download. Now, normally I have to pay money for that, but he has it with a lot of very valuable health information, how to stay healthy in today's climate, if you know what I mean. He also has a fantastic cold and flu tea remedy in there. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to talk about like the top strategies you can do right now to be healthier, to have your family healthier, that are all natural, don't require pills necessarily, or potions or jabs or anything like that. So definitely get on this show. We had to be careful about what we called it, if you can imagine. So I will put the link below this video. So join us Monday at 12 noon for that airing of the show. Cool stuff, new stuff I wanted to share with you is I had a little post on Facebook about this acupuncture point at the top of the head called GB20. I call it the Bliss Point or Happy Point, and it's a great point to kind of lift your spirits. And in the past, as an acupuncturist, I would actually needle this point, and of course you could always just push on it as well. You can just take the imaginary line from the tips of your ears to the top of your head and just push, and you'll find a slightly sore spot. That is it. Okay, now here's the thing. Most people are not going to go around all day pushing the spot, right? So I found a solution years ago, is the LifeWave Aeon patch, AEON, which is clinically shown to decrease stress and inflammation. If you place that patch on this head, not only does it balance your brain hemispheres and relaxes your autonomic nervous system to a more balanced state, it actually lifts your mood as well, because this is the Bliss Point or Happy Point. Well, I call it that. I mean, acupuncturists won't know what I'm talking about necessarily, because I call it the Bliss Point. So make sure if you're talking to an acupuncturist, you say Governor Vessel 20, then they'll know what point you're talking about. So if you're interested in getting some of these, there's a lot of stressed people around, a lot of not brain balanced people around, because they are so stressed. And who doesn't have inflammation these days? Like, seriously. So this is a great patch to have. I pretty much use it every day because it really focuses me. I'm much more productive. I'm much more, I know I don't do caffeine or anything like that, but still sometimes I get overly excited and then I'm like all over the place and don't get anything done. But the Eon patch does help to like center me, and if I do feel a little down, maybe I was being an empath for mass consciousness or something, if I feel a little off mood wise, then I will put that as a pick me up. And other times, if you don't need that, you can just put it somewhere else on the body. Today I actually have it behind the right ear, which is a really great calming and focusing point as well. Now, some of you who already use LifeWave phototherapy patches will be like, well, a pick-me-up, mood-wise, why aren't you using Nirvana at the top of your head? Well, the answer is, you can! Nirvana increases beta endorphins, works a completely different way from the Eon patch. So I would say use what works for you. Now, Nirvana does work best when you have the supplement that goes with it, because that helps you build that beta endorphin in the body, and the patch just makes it much faster. So you can try both. Nirvana is actually marketed for mood elevation, whereas Eon is marketed for stress and inflammation. So you can see whatever, try whatever works best for you. And if you want more information, I'll put my Facebook link here, because I did a little post with some pictures. What else do I have to announce? Oh, yes. So we have several events coming up. Now, hopefully, you have heard that on the 22nd of December, the interview that I did with Lee Carroll and Monica Mariani, and if you don't know Lee, he channels Cryon, very famous guy, super nice people, super, like, it was so funny. We were talking and we were having a blast, and they're like, you're our kind of people. It's so funny. It was great. Anyway, so that is airing on the 22nd at 9 p.m. Eastern. So if you're part of that group, it's like Healing Wednesdays. They have one free one every month, and then And then they have, the interviews and the channeling with Cryon. So if you're part of that group, you will get this as part of that membership. It's a very low cost membership, highly recommended. So after that, we're actually going to do a Q&A. So I will be live doing a chat afterwards, so we can, get together in that space and, meet new friends, that kind of thing. So I really hope that you will be there live. So it'll be after the airing of that particular 9 p.m. show. Okay, yes, I'm staying up late for that. Okay, and we have some other amazing events coming up. So I'm just going to put that list down below. And also we'll put the link to the Ascension 3, my book. And yeah, so if you enjoy these videos, Spiritual Medicine Digest, please go ahead and hit subscribe and like, and feel free to share it all over. And if you'd like to stay in closer contact, you can actually get on my mailing list at karencan.com. We have lots of freebies, so if you're on the mailing list, you get to know about when our monthly free mini healings are and things like that. So thank you so much for listening, and until next time, lots of love, and if you celebrate the holidays, happy holidays.